The following manuscript was found in an abandoned and hidden laboratory discovered deep in an Alaskan forest. The laboratory consisted of an observation room and containment room. The containment room was barricaded and locked, and the entire lab seemed to have caught on fire at one point. Traces of blood were found after the containment room was breached, and a window was shattered. The exact nature of this lab has yet to be discovered. It was simple, we thought. You take a few chromosomes, slice them up, put them over there, and hey, perfect human being! I'm still not sure what went wrong. Maybe a miscalculation, a misprocedure, or maybe something beyond our control. Who knows? We, a few of my psychologist colleagues and I, were intrigued by human emotion. Anger, despair, euphoria. And we began to wonder, was it possible to lock the mind into one emotion? To lock it into a euphoric state so that no sadness or anger would ever cloud its thought? Theoretically, yes. I won't describe the procedure of our experiments to you, both because I wouldn't want you to repeat them, but also, I fear I will go mad if I recount them. The terrible things we did. We were ambitious, youthful, nothing could stop us, and no one could tell us we were wrong. All I will tell you is that we got a hold of some stem cells, nurtured them into fetuses, and tampered ever so slightly with the genetics. The experiment was then called the Angel Man Project. And the goal was to create a being which only felt happiness. But something went wrong. Something went terribly wrong. Half of the test subjects died unexpectedly, without warning and without cause. The remaining half were mostly born hideously distorted. 3 were born, well, perfect, we thought. A human with mental capabilities beyond any other due to its locked euphoric state. They were perfectly normal, up to 18 months. But that's when the first symptoms appeared. A lack of balance, trouble sleeping, and trouble eating, as well as low responsiveness. We all panicked on the inside, of course, but on the outside, we remained calm and continued with the project. We should have ended it there. We should have taken those damn subjects, euthanized them, and burned them, then closed the lab. But we continued. Things only got worse. The subjects' movements became increasingly sporadic, and they still could not utter words, although they could laugh, and did so often. Much too often. Not happy laughter, but quiet, almost nervous laughing, which was nearly constant. No matter how much pain was inflicted on the subject, it merely stared at you and laughed, as if it were mocking you, calling your attempts to harm it futile. We expected the subject to have extra learning capabilities. However, quite the opposite occurred. Their mental development was severely delayed. They couldn't pay attention to something more than a few minutes before lapsing into a laughing fit. But we continued, hoping that these symptoms would clear up as the children got older. We gave a name to these symptoms. Happy Puppet Syndrome, because the mindless movements of the children made it seem like they were puppets on strings. 5 years into the project, we realized there was no hope. We could no longer stand the incessant laughing of these children, as if they knew something we didn't, as if some kind of joke passed between them. To look at a child and to see it twitch sporadically and laugh excessively is a very haunting thing. 2 of my colleagues had already quit because they couldn't stand it. I never heard from them afterwards, come to think of it. They're most likely dead. The children had not talked for 5 years, only laughed their damned laugh. We went in to give them breakfast, and they stared at us with huge eyes, while twitching and giggling, but saying nothing. We laid the meal in front of them and left. The meal was laced with toxins that would silently and painlessly kill the subjects. It was incredibly painful to do, but it had to be done. However, it would not be that easy. As my friend set a tray of food down in front of one of the boys, the laughing stopped. The boy looked up at my friend, his eyes suddenly dark, dead serious. The laughing gone. They continued to stare at him and twitch for a while. My friend was in shock and would not move. My colleagues and I stood with pen and notepad ready to take notes. Suddenly, my friend fell to his knees, grasping his head and yelling furiously. He appeared to be in tremendous pain. My colleagues and I were so surprised by this, we could do nothing but just sit and watch. My friend collapsed to the floor, yelling curses. He jerked violently a few times, and then he went limp. I held back the urge to be sick, more successful than a few of my colleagues. Something about this was not normal. A dark presence seemed to tower over us. We immediately sealed the entrance. The boy stopped, looked at the door, and laughed. He fell to the floor, twitching and rolling around about, laughing insanely. The other 2 did the same. After a few minutes, the fit ceased, and they stood up, still twitching, still giggling. The lights went out. I heard crashes, glass shattering, and screams. The most terrifying thing of all were the haunting whispers coupled with a quiet laughing. When the lights went back on, the subjects were gone. 2 of my colleagues lay unconscious beside me, their bodies twisted at odd angles, blood trickling from their drooping mouths. At first, they appeared to be dead. They showed no vital signs, but as I leaned in, I could hear them laughing, ever so slightly. I went over to examine my friend. No pulse, no breathing. But he continued to laugh quietly. Although the subjects had gone, I still felt as if something were watching me. Something that was just at the edge of my vision, but that I would never be able to see. Me and one of my remaining colleagues closed everything down immediately. Before leaving, we destroyed our research and locked and barricaded the lab. I lost communication with my colleagues. I presume now that they're all dead. I still feel like I'm watched. I still hear the laughing, the whispering, in my dreams and sometimes when I'm awake. When I do, I run. I get up and leave wherever I am. I'm not able to stay in the same place for more than a few days because of this. And it spread. Other children were seen with similar symptoms. I have no idea how it spread. It shouldn't be something that spreads. Somebody somewhere made something up about the disjunction of the 15th chromosome, and that kept the people happy and in the dark, for now. The disease, though, was coined as the Angel Man Syndrome. So far, the spawn are not yet dangerous, but I know the originals still lurk somewhere. I know they're coming for me. I know they will find me. I accept this. It's what I get for attempting to tamper with nature. I leave this letter here as a warning. They're coming for you too. They're coming for all of us. If you ever hear whispering, laughing at the edge of your hearing, run. If you ever feel as if something stands right at the edge of your sight, but you can't look, run. Also, I warn you of this. 1. Do not tamper with what is not yours. 2. Even angels can be demons in disguise. And 3. Do not come for me. I am as good as dead.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed that story as much as I enjoyed telling it. Now you all know with the Halloween coming up, I've got plenty to do, so you may not be seeing me update as regularly as I used to. Also, with the holders.org down, I'm having a little bit of difficulty getting your holder stories out, but I will try to do my best to circumvent this problem. Look for the future. I've got a few more videos coming out, including next week's surprise. I've got a special treat for those of you who don't listen to the live stream with me and Dimension Bucket, or for those of you who don't listen to the Dimension Bucket podcast. For you, my fans, I will do quite a bit, including Poetry Week next week, with my old pal Dimension Bucket, and a few of the Theater Obscurum members. So if there is a creepy poem or a pasta you want us to read, or me specifically, send me an email. Shoot it in my inbox and I'll see what I can do. In the meantime, hit the subscribe button if you haven't, and hit like on this video if you haven't either. I've got plenty more where that came from, but I'd like to hear what you want. That being said, sweet dreams and pleasant night.